Hello, and welcome to another day on the channel. My name is RNGesus, and today we'll be doing some more Amonkhet Remastered while it's still on Arena. So, if you're not familiar with Amonkhet Remastered, it's basically Amonkhet and Our Devastation combined with some of the cards taken out, some of them all to put into like one single set. So, here we are on Pack 1, Pick 1. We have the God Pharaoh's Gift. Pretty good card if you can get it online, which is a big if because of how expensive it is. And then you also need to get creatures in your graveyard, so it's a lot of setup work, but once it's done, it's super strong. And I like taking it over a Lord of the Accursed or Shadowstorm Vizier. Nothing in white and blue is nothing as well. Black is probably like the only good color, and like Oshar Cultivator is fine. But we'll just take the God Pharaoh's Gift here. And now, what do we get? There's an Oketra's Attendant, which has Embalm and has Cycling. There is three cartouches in this pack. Cartouche of Knowledge, Cartouche of Ambition, and Cartouche of Strength. I think the Strength is probably the strongest cartouche here. Like Knowledge gives +1/+1 flying and draws a card. This one gives a -1/-1 counter. And +1/+1 lifelink, and this one fights, but +1/+1 trample. I think the removal spell is so much stronger than any of the other two. But this pack is pretty mediocre. Fanbearer is fine. Oketra's Avenger, pretty aggressive card. I kinda like taking... I don't know what. I guess Cartouche of Strength? If we go into green ramp, I could see having Cartouche of Strength. Okay. We could do some rampy stuff with like Hope Tender. Hope Tender can exert itself to untap 2 lands instead of just 1, so it can ramp by exerting itself. It's not the greatest ramp spell, but it's 2 mana ramp, so what more could you want? There's a Fervent Paincaster, which is fine, but with all the -1/-1 counter synergy like Soul Singer stuff, it's not the greatest. There's a Sidewinder Naga, which cares about deserts. Wasteland Scorpion's fine. If there are some creatures that cycled, that'd be great with God Pharaoh's Gift, but we'll just take Hope Tender. Try and do some rampy stuff. And now we can take an Ominous Sphinx, go into like a blue-green kind of rampy cycle style deck. I don't hate it. Like, what else are we going to take? Heckma Sentinels, Unburden, Life Goes On, Puncturing Blow. Like, the next best card probably is either Aven Initiate or Puncturing Blow. But I'd rather take Ominous Sphinx. Just a big, beefy creature. And now we can get a Striped Riverwinder or a Spring to Mind. Or an even Oasis Ritualist, but I think I like Spring to Mind. It's ramp, it's card draw, and it fixes if you want to try and do a splash. Surprise Bone Picker's still in the pack. So yeah, white, and maybe even red is definitely getting cut off. But black and blue are getting fed to me easily. We'll just take Spring. I do like Striped Riverwinder a lot, but we'll just take the Spring. And here, there's an Unquenchable Thirst. If we get enough deserts, that's good. Hooded Brawler is really good in the Exert decks. Not much anywhere else. There's Consigned to Oblivion and another Bone Picker, so maybe we do and go into blue-black. Let's take Consign. I like it. It's just like a 2-mana unsummon. And like if we play like a single swamp, we can just maybe cast Oblivion with like Spring or whatever. Yeah, I'll take Consigned to Oblivion. And now Aronis' Stalwart is just a fine 2-drop. Or Seeker of Insight that actually has utility to fill our graveyard. Yeah, I like Seeker of Insight. And now we can get a Striped Riverwinder. Don't mind if I do. Consign's a 2-drop and Spring's a 3-drop. Seer of Last Tomorrow is fine. Arrow Guide, pretty good to get in with, but I think I like taking the Striped Riverwinder. Fills our graveyard for God Pharaoh's Gift. And in late game, we can just ramp into it. Here, we have the Strategic Planning, Heckma Sentinels, Oshar Cultivator. So I think all of the blue-green cards wield. which is a very good sign for us. Although they're not like the greatest quality cards in the first place. There's Strategic Planning, Cultivator. I guess Cultivator fills our graveyard for Godfather's Gift and ramps. So I like Cultivator a lot over Strategic Planning. And now we can take an Aven Initiate. Don't mind if I do. All these cards are this is like garbage cards. A few of those were actually playable. And now we get a Hieroglyphic Illuminations as some fine card draw. We don't have any deserts for Sidewinder Naga just yet, so I don't think it's worth taking. We'll just take the Hieroglyphic Illuminations, just as some instant speed card draw. Then we can just cycle. And do we want to run the Ancient Crab? It's just a 1/5 that can block. Or Heckma Sentinels. We may have some more cycle stuff for Heckma Sentinels. Who knows? And a Stripe Riverwinder on the wheel. Now that is lucky for us. Stripe Riverwinder is just amazing. Brute Strength. Final card. Okay, here we go in pack 2. Our rare is Perilous Vault. 4 mana to cast it. 5 mana. Tap it, exile, Perilous Vault, exile all non-land permanents. So it's an instant speed board wipe that you have to set up with 4 mana first. So it's like a Nevinyrral's Disc kind of effect, which I'm not a big fan of. It's also super expensive and super slow. So I don't like this, especially because it can get rid of our Godfather's Gift. If it was like a creature-based board wipe, then I would love it. But because it's not, like it's, and it doesn't even fill our graveyard, it exiles. So we can take like a Ronus's Monument, which is fine. Not amazing, but fine. We can give our Striper Rewinder +2/+2 and trample. We could take a Greater Sandworm as just another big threat over like an Exemplar of Strength. Yeah, I like that. Take a Greater Sandworm. And now we can grab a Ramunap Excavator. Works well with our Seeker of Insight. And any other ways we can get to discard cards or mill cards. Or if we get any deserts, now we can take deserts pretty highly. So yeah, I like Ramunap Excavator. It's kind of like a weird card, but I think I like it. Over like taking an Essence Scatter or Dissenter's Deliverance. Yeah, Ramunap Excavator could be fun. And now a Manglehorn. Could be fine. Or we can just take a Unquenchable Thirst if we can get some deserts. So the question is between Manglehorn and some Artifact Destruction or Unquenchable Thirst. Not too many artifacts in this set. That's like worth. I'm not sure if there are too many for Manglehorn really to care about. So I think I like taking Unquenchable Thirst in the case that we get some more deserts. And now we want to take deserts super highly. Just not off-color deserts like Desert of the Fervent. If it was a blue or green or even black one, like for Oblivion, we would take it. But here we'll just take the Oasis Ritualist. Just some more ramp. And now we can take a Greater Sandworm. Don't mind if I do. Greater Sandworm number 2 over like a Feral Prowler. Like, it's a fine card. It cantrips when it dies, and it's like a fine blocker early. It's better than the -1/-1 counter decks where you can just like stuff all the counters onto the Feral Prowler, get a card afterwards. But we'll just take a Greater Sandworm. We can ramp into that pretty well. And it's hard creature to block. Great to fill our graveyard for Godpharaoh's Gift. Yeah, all in all, the deck's looking pretty good. Now, there's a Desert of the True. If these deserts were just blue-green, we would have taken them so easily. But now we just have to take a Spring to Mind. Merciless Javeliner is still in the pack, which is surprising. Same with Nest of Scarabs. We'll just take Spring to Mind. And a Desert of the Mindful or a Hoopoe. The signpost uncommon for these colors. I love a Hoopoe. Hoopoe's so cool and fun and gains a bunch of life. Draws some cards. But I think we need to take Desert of the True just to start getting those desert synergies on. And we have a lot of good playables already, so I think Desert's fine. And now we can take a Bitterbow Sharpshooters. 4/4 Vigilance Reach. Fine card. And it fills out our curve with 5-drop. Heckma Sentinels is fine. How much cycling do we have? We have Seeker of Insight, Hieroglyphic Illuminations, 2 Stripe Riverwinders, and 2 Greater Sandworms. So it's fine, it's not amazing. On the wheel, we get literally nothing. On Crop Champion, not in our colors. Soul Stinger, I guess we could go into black, but I doubt it. So I guess red-white's cut off on this side, but not from this side. Now we get past a Destined to Lead. It's not great. We could take a Dissenter's Deliverance, just as a cycler, but yeah, I'll just take the Dissenters. Now we wheel a Manglehorn. Yeah, so maybe there aren't enough artifacts for Manglehorn to be good. Dissenter's Deliverance pretty bad. Forsake the Worthy. Dissenter's Deliverance. Yeah. Okay, so this is turning out pretty good. We do want some more deserts here, but hopefully we get them soon. As in this pack, our rare is Sandworm Convergence. I do love a good Sandworm deck. I actually went to a Chaos Draft recently, and Sandworm Convergence was the rare that pivoted me into green. Such a fun card, and powerful one. And my first draft on this format in my first video, Sandworm Convergence is just busted. So we'll take it here. Unquenchable Thirst, Ominous Sphinx, all fine and dandy, countervailing winds. But we'll just take Sandworm Convergence. We've got the ramp for it. Like Oshara Cultivator, Hope Tender, double Spring to Mine. All pretty good. That's more of a 1-drop and that's more of a 2-drop because it can cycle. It's just 1 and 2 drops with some extra utility. Ugh, Sun-Scorched Desert. We might want to take it for our desert synergies. Or our desert synergy, since this just cares about desert. This just cares about getting lands in graveyard, which is much harder than it looks. We'll take a Vizier of Tumbling Sands here over Reduced to Rubble. A Cartouche of Knowledge would be fine, but with no trials, cartouches get a little worse. Essence Scatter would also be good, but I like Vizier of Tumbling Sands. It cycles, it ramps, everything you could ever want. We could take a 3rd Striped Riverwinder. We're not going to play Compelling Argument, Haze of Pollen, or Ronis' Stalwart, so I like taking the 3rd Striped Riverwinder. Another way to fill the graveyard. It can become a 4/4 cycler with Godpharaoh's Gift. And now we can take Desert of the Mindful over Appeal. Appeal to Authority, or another Cartouche of Strength. Yeah, I like taking the Desert. Shred Weakness is a fine combat trick, but not amazing. Winds of Rebuke, really good interaction. Actually, maybe we take Winds of Rebuke. Yeah, let's take Desert over Winds of Rebuke. I'm sure we can get Winds of Rebuke later. Okay. We're not going to pass up a Hoopu a second time. Passing up a Hoopu once was already risky enough for Spring to Mind. Or whatever I took it for. But I'm not passing it again. We're taking the Hoopu over Desert of the Mindful. And now we get Essence Scatter over Consigned to Oblivion. We have Oasis Ritualist to go get black mana. Yeah, let's get an Essence Scatter since we have double Sandworm to hold up the cycle. And triple Sidewinder. Yeah, let's take Essence Scatter, first counterspell. And another Oasis Ritualist to ramp. Perfect, perfect. And now we can take a Ifnir Deadlands as like a better swamp since it counts as a desert. And we can sacrifice it. Yeah, I like Ifnir Deadlands a lot. We could even, and just like helps us splash Consigned to Oblivion. Here, Countervailing Winds is just a bad kind of counterspell. And now we can take Winds of Rebuke. Good interaction. And fills our graveyard. Sunset Pyramid's fine. I feel like this is just really slow card draw. It's like similar to Maze Mind Tome. But the one thing Maze Mind Tome has on this is that it gains life and gets an extra draw / scry. And this, just tapping it to scry is so much better than having to pay 2 mana to scry. I'm not sure how I feel about Sunset's Pyramid. Winds of Rebuke number 2. We might play that, although I doubt we will play the second. Floodwaters. Doubt we'll play that. We already have enough top end. Like double Sandworm, triple Sidewinder, double Mind, Sandworm Convergence, and Godpharaoh's Gift, all in our top end. Yeah, I think we don't need to play the Floodwaters, even though it's a nice... It feels like Brawl's expertise style, like bounce 3 things. We would probably play it. But because it's only 2, it's pretty bad. Okay, so looking at cuts... Let's cut 1 Winds of Rebuke. Heckma Sentinels, I don't think is worth it in this deck. Like, it's fine. But I don't think it's that good. I don't think Ava Initiate's also that good either. How does Ramen Up Manglehorn we can definitely easily cut. How does Ramen Up Excavator look? We've got 2 Desert of the Mindful. 1 If Near Deadlands. Other ways to discard cards. We have Winds of Rebuke to mill. And Seeker of Insight to loot. So, it could be good. But I don't think it's, like, worth it to... Its opportunity. It's just, like, really slow and takes a lot of setup for just an extra land drop. So I don't think it's worth it. Countervailing Winds. Doesn't seem amazing. Like, we'd be rather spring to mining or whatever on turn 3 rather than holding up counter magic, so I think we can cut that. Consign's a 2-drop. I don't think we need to run a swamp. We can just run If Near Deadlands as a desert for our Unquenchable Thirst, while also being a black source for Oblivion if we want to or need to. And Oasis Rituals also can get black mana, so we don't care too highly to have a basic. How does Hieroglyphic Illuminations do? If it was draw 3, I think we'd play it, but since it's just an expensive, divination, I don't think we want it. And we have double Mind, so I don't think we need it anyway. Sunset Pyramid, how do you like that? It feels really slow. Might be too slow for us. How does Aven Initiate look like? What's our creature count? 16? For our Godpharaoh's Gift. So we can just, like, cycle a few creatures, put them into our graveyard, and then get them back. I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't think I like Heckma Sentinels. Just a really filler 3-drop, what I can tell. In the cycle decks, it seems great, but here I don't think we really want it, even with our cyclers. Bitterbow Sharpshooter is fine. Seeker of Insight, I don't think we care too much for the loot effect, so I think we can cut it. Final cut. I've been having my eye on this Sunset's Pyramid for a while, and I think it's an easy enough cut. Like, it's really slow, and we already have Hoopu to draw cards. You've got Spring to Mind to draw cards. Yeah, I think we can just cut the Sunset Pyramid altogether. And mana looks pretty good. Let's get some pretty lands in, except for the swamp. So let's get some pretty lands in. What's our mana looking at? 12 and 13. Leaning more... We want to lean more to green just because we have our green is our fixing. So let's go 8 and 8. Even though we have 2 blue tap lands. Because our greens are fixing, but blue we have a higher concentration of. So yeah, that is the deck. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button before we get started. And without further ado, let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. On the draw, if we get a blue source, his hand looks pretty good. Otherwise, it's not that great, so I think we'll have to mulligan. This is better. We'll keep. And let's bottom the Ominous Sphinx. Yeah, let's bottom the Ominous Sphinx. We draw an Essence Scatter. That's fine. Sadly, we can't cast Hoopu on turn 2, but we can cast it on, like, turn 4 or something. I think we'll Hope Tender turn 2. Hold on, let me fix something real quick. Graphics. There we go. That should look better for you guys. Oshara Cultivator. Fine and all, but we have a Spring to mine, so I think we'd rather be more mana efficient and cast Hope Tender. Pass the turn. Do you have Open Fire or something? We take 2. A Baleful Amonkhet. Yeah, that's annoying. Let's cast a Spring. Go get a blue source. No attacks and pass. And now we can trade off with the Amonkhet. Or do we want this for an extra blue mana? Oh, no, they just cycle Deem Worthy anyway. Well, that sucks. Oh well. If we draw an island, that's great. Greater Sandworm's fine as well. I was hoping for an island so that way we could hold up Essence Scatter. But now we just can run out those, hold up Greater Sandworm, recycle. Since we're still 2 lands away from Greater Sandworm, I think we cycle it rather than hold it. And we could just activate Hoopu for our late game instead. They Cartouche, shrink the Hoopu, and swing in. Yeah, Cartouche is annoying. All these lifelinkers are definitely becoming a problem. We'll cycle the Sandworm. Draw land, so not the greatest. Let's jump block with the Oshara Cultivator. It's not going to be doing much for us anyway. Just preserve our life total a bit. And they cast a Nefcrop and Tangler. Yeah, things aren't looking that great for us. They cast Magma Spray. We'll activate, and then now we can live at 1. Unless they have a non-creature spell. I don't think even Sandworm Conversions can save us here. Yeah, missing on blue mana really hurts. Yep, we go to 1. And how are we going to live through this? Cycle, see what we hit. Striper, yep, that's game. GG's. Hit all of the green, none of the blue. Good games. On to the next game. So, I've come back to look at my mana base, and I feel like if near Deadlands, I don't feel like it's worth it. Just because we have double Oasis Ritualist, and Unquenchable Thirst is fine like by itself as a tap-down effect. So yeah, I think I'm cutting that and adding back a forest, because our green is our main mana ramp / fixing. So I don't think we want to have less blue than green, or less green than blue, or even like even. So yeah, I'm just cutting the if near Deadlands for a forest. And now let's get into the game. On the play, this hand's really slow. It doesn't have any ramp, but we'll try it. We can cycle to help dig us a bit deeper. We've got a bunch of ramp, so I'm sure we'll draw something. Pass the turn. They cycle Hieroglyphic Illumination, sure. Soulscar Mage, yeah, that's scary. We'll cycle a Greater Sandworm. Prowess is always scary. Yikes, nothing. Hopefully these 5 drops and then Sandworm Convergence will stabilize us. Like, we've got a whole lot of land. I cast an Aerial Guide. Consign looks great. Just has some interaction here. They moved combat. Let's bounce the Aerial Guide. If they just recast it, we're happy, because Bitterbow Sharpshooter and Ominous Sphinx can both block it. They cast an Aven Initiate instead, which is fine, because now we can cast a Bitterbow Sharpshooter. Sure, landing an Omnisphinx is fine, but if they don't have a removal spell for Bitterbow, we'd rather have Omnisphinx live, and if they do have removal, then we would rather have Omnisphinx live, and if they don't have removal, then this can swing in pretty easily. And if they just cast Aven Wind or Aerial Guide, that's fine. So yeah, they swing. We've got Reach, so if they have like a Magma Spray or something, that's fine. Open Fire, also fine. Ooh, -1/-1 counters because of Soulscar Mage. That's pretty sweet. Let's cast an Omnisphinx. Next turn, a Striped Riverwinder. And then if we draw land, Sandworm Convergence. They commit that. Annoying. Ooh, Greater Sandworm. But let's get the Hexproof threat right into play. It's just a 5/5 Hexproof they can't interact with, so no more tempo stuff. We take 3, which sucks, but we'll live. And with the Aerial Wind Guide, Stripe Riverwinder's not going to do anything anymore anyway, so we can just swing in with it. Pathmaker Initiate, definitely not anymore. Slam an Omnisphinx. Swing for 5. So, since they could just give most of their board flying, I don't think holding back Stripe Riverwinder was worth it. Because if they have removal, we're definitely going to be dead. So our main saving grace here is going to be landing a Sandworm Convergence next turn, so we can cycle our Greater Sandworm. And if we don't and we get like a God Pharaoh's Gift, that's also fine. They cycle a Desert Ceradon, sure. Guess they're looking for like a way to kill me. They can give the Aerial Guide unblockable. Well, they pass. They swing with everything. Well, we have to soak up as much damage as possible, so... The Aven Initiate's not going to be a threat once we land Sandworm Convergence. That's our only hope. So let's cycle the Greater Sandworm. Make the Aerial Guide small. Draw a card. That's a Hope Tender, not a land. Do we block the Aven Initiate or the Pathmaker? I think the Pathmaker, just because that's going to be much of a threat later. And we can block flying relatively easily. We go down to 4. Come on, land off the top. Come on, land off the top. I know you want to be there. Thorn Moloch. Cartouche of Strength, just as good. We'll play that. Enters the battlefield, it will fight the Aerial Guide. Although this does get -1/-2 -1/-1 counters because Soulscar Mage. And we'll cast a Hope Tender. So next turn we can Convergence. And do we swing? Let's see. Thorn Moloch is definitely going to be annoying. We can block Aven Initiate. I think we just pass. Like, I think we just want to hold up some defense. Glad we did. But we're dead anyway. Good game. Sandworm Convergence. We just wanted to land, and we couldn't draw it. Well, this isn't a good start to a draft. On to the next one, I guess. On the play, this hand looks great. We'll keep. Okay, so playable hands are looking good. We have the ramp with big stuff. I play a Forest and pass. Omnisphinx looks pretty good. Pass the turn, and I think we might hold Stripe Riverwinder. Just so we can cast it, but I think we might just cycle it since we have bigger threats, and I get feeling the graveyard's pretty good. Ooh, 3-color, Naya. Interesting. Yeah, let's just cycle it. Excuse me. Desert of the Mindful, pretty good. Let's spring. Go get a green source. Yeah, let's get a green source. Pass the turn. They play a Sidewinder Naga. Let's cast an Oasis Ritualist and play a Desert of the Mindful. Pass the turn. Next turn we can slam a Greater Sandworm. They play a Zealot of the God Pharaoh. Deal with this, green-red. Oh, wait, you can't. Because green-red, all the removal is combat-based. They have a Shafet Dune, so that's a little more scary. So they might have, like, Desert's Hold or something. So, white removal is a little more worrying now, but I think we can live with it. They play a Thorn Moloch. And just pass. Okay, they just pass. Let's mine, draw some cards, see what we draw. Winds of Rebuke. Cool. Play a land. Swing with Greater Sandworm? Like, if they double block, we can punish them very heavily. If they just take it, then they can swing in, and that's going to be painful. If we had more defense, we would swing, but let's just pass. Because I'm sure they have a way to punish us. Like, they have a lot of... If they have a lot of things here, we could be in a lot of trouble. Crop Champion. Okay. That's fine. It's just a 4/4 for 4. Nothing that can give their board vigilance. Striped Riverwinder. Pretty good. Well, let's move to combat and swing for 7. What do we want to kill? The On-Crop Champion and the Zealot of the God Pharaoh? Over the Sidewinder Naga? Yeah, I like that. And now we can cast a Striped Riverwinder. Pass the turn. They play Forest and cast a Sifter Worm. Yikes. We don't want to bounce that because of its ETB. Giving them a lot of card selection and gaining life. Yikes. I think we can beat it in combat with some Ominous Sphinx stuff. They reveal Oketra's name, so wasn't the greatest for them. But it is definitely looking a bit scary. Cast River Hoopu. Cast Ominous Sphinx. Pass the turn. Hold up Rebuke. Sadly, we don't have enough mana to hold up a activation of Hoopu, but that's fine. This is an instant, right? Yeah, so we have to play around their board as if they all get +1. They already have an Anthem. And this can technically get +2/+2 because prowess. Ooh, Trial of Solidarity. Yikes. They just swing with the Sifter Worm and the Sidewinder Naga. Okay, they swing with everything. Well, this is a problem. The first strike is just a big problem. Let's bounce the Sifter Worm. We mill a mine. Pretty good. We also milled the Bitterbow Sharpshooter, which is fine. Let's block Ominous Sphinx to the Sidewinder Naga. And just take 5. Yeah, I like that. Go to 13. Cartouche of Strength, pretty good. Let's mine and draw some cards. Essence Scatter, perfect. So So let's Cartouche of Strength. And hold up Essence Scatter for the Sifter Worm. And not swing through a Ritualist. They go to 13. We pass. Oh no, a Sifter Worm. Nope. And that's the power of Essence Scatter. We draw a card. Swing with everything. And in case of a board wipe, I think we just pass. Like, they have enough mana for, like, Perilous Vault and stuff. They just play a Supply Caravan. They don't get a 1/1 since they don't have a tapped creature. But now there's Dead on board. No, they have to pay a life for that, so it doesn't save them. Activate Hoopu, gain 2 life, draw a card. And a God Pharaoh's Gift. Yeah, that should do it. Slam a God Pharaoh's Gift. Just to guarantee lethal. And they concede. Good game. Okay. Well, maybe this deck isn't as horrible as we think. Maybe we're just bad people. Who knows? Who knows? On to the next game. On the play, no green mana and no early plays. I think we have to mulligan this hand. This is much better. We'll keep this. And bottom the Unquenchable Thirst because we don't have a desert to go with it. Or bottom the Winds of Rebuke. Let's bottom the Winds. It's a little harder to leverage as a bounce spell rather than a removal spell. They play Desert of the Fervent. Well, now we feel sort of bad. Essence Scatter would have been a great way to leverage a bounce spell. Looks like they're an aggro deck. Essence Scatter, the first thing they play. Battlefield Scrapper. Play land. Pass a turn, and end of turn crack the Cultivator. Go get a green source. Oh, Catcher's Monument. Now that's scary. Get a green source. Our turn. Let's start cycling. Fill our graveyard. And hopefully hit a land. We mean we hit a land. We need to hit 2 more. They just pass. Interesting. They must have something. Maybe just a bunch of removal. Let's go get a blue source. And God Pharaoh's Gift in 1 land. So 1 more land. Get the job done. Now we've got some bounce. Yeah, their hand must be full of removal. If they're not playing anything. Sandworm Convergence. Very good. We draw Desert of the Mindful. We'll play that since we have a lot of big mana stuff. And getting our first Desert into play is great for Unquenchable Thirst. Even though cycling could work. Let's see, what you got? Nothing? Well, I guess let's be mana efficient and cast Sandworm Convergence. Just start getting some 5/5s. They can start spending their removal on these 5/5s. End of turn, we create a 5/5. How do you like that, OP? You want a Puncturing Blow this? Okay, Struggle. That's also fine. They cast a Pathmaker Initiate. Okay, there's the aggro we were waiting on. We knew they had something. Okay, so you've seen Sandworm Convergence. Now, how do you like a God Pharaoh's Gift? They concede. Fair. I mean, getting a 4/4 and a 5/5 every turn for no mana is just insane value. Like, get back a Hexproof, get back a Hexproof, get back a Cultivator. That's fine. Just a 4/4. But yeah. And getting a 5/5 every single turn is just insanely bonkers. Okay, let's win with some power. On to the next game. On the draw, this hand looks fine. We'll keep. We can cycle the Sandworm. Just keep digging. And we'll lead off with the Desert of the Mindful, so our Unquenchable Thirst looks pretty good. And we're going to need lands anyway. Firebrand Archer. Do we just Unquenchable Thirst that? Nah, let's Winds of Rebuke it. And do it on our turn before they get a chance to do much. We do get to draw a card with Mind, so Winds of Rebuke doing work already. Then I cast a Thorn Mullock. Well, we'll cast a Vizier of Tumbling Sands. Just a wee bit of ramp. And then we can land an Ominous Sphinx. We take 2. They cast a Zealot of the God Pharaoh. Definitely annoying. Tap this for blue. Untap and cast an Ominous Sphinx. And pray that they don't kill it. Because if they don't, we're looking pretty set up. We can Unquenchable Thirst, like, just play something big. That's all we ask. Play something big. Big and scary. That's what we're here for, right? If they attack, they definitely have some sort of combat trick, so, like, a brute strength, as we see that in their graveyard. But they don't swing with the Thorn Mullock. So we'll take 4, and since they're attacking now, that means they probably don't have removal, which is great for us. They cast a Firebrand Archer. And an Enigma Drake, sure. Well, let's tap down the Zealot. Enigma Drake would also be a fine tap down, but we'll just play it like that. Pass turn. We can untap a land with Vizier, so we can cycle and cast Essence Scatter. Depending if we need to cycle or not. Winds of Rebuke. Well, let's cycle. Trigger, you get small. Because the prowess means that it won't be able to attack past our Vizier anymore, and now they can only swing with the Enigma Drake. Winds of Rebuke keep drawing us cards with Mines. And they play a Nimbleblade Kenra. Sure. We'll let that resolve instead of Essence Scattering that. Do you play a Stripe Riverwinder? I don't think we do. We'll just take 2. Our turn, our Cartouche of Strength looks pretty good. Let's slam an Ominous Sphinx. Pass the turn. Instead of slamming a Stripe Riverwinder. Puncturing Blow. Well, let's cycle the Stripe Riverwinder now. Shrink the Thorn Mullock. Draw land. Cool. They can swing in for 3, and then we can block the Nimbleblade. And we go down to 6. Things are getting a little dicey here. Let's cast a Cartouche of Strength. Have the creature fight a Thorn Mullock. And hold up Essence Scatter. Pass the turn. Well, we're taking 3. Enigma Drake hurts. Zealot can be activated, so we go down to 1. Hey, this is not good. Just cast a creature, please. Just cast a creature. Cast a creature. Cast a creature, please. I'm begging you. Looks like they're activating the Zealot. Let's mind and draw some cards. You go down to 1. Yep, that's gonna be game. Good games. Just some aggro beating us down. Oh well. Can't win them all. This is why adding black to the splash is great for removal and such. Well, in the draft, maybe we should have went into like a blue, black, green kind of style deck. Green would have been great for removal, filling the graveyard. Would have been great with our deck. Just slowing them down a bunch. But, oh well. Well, if you enjoyed the game and content, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It means a lot to me. And I will see you all next time.